Welcome to Galactic Propworks. Today I am starting a multi-video series where I'm creating Kylo Ren's helmet, but this is the reforged version. Now I wanted to do a multi-part series to show off different steps on how to make the helmet and to go in more depth. Now if you want a faster paced video where I do everything in one go, then watch my Canon Jairus mask video. Now this one, to start off, part one will be a scaling and getting the files sliced up to fit onto my Ender 3 V2. So if you have a smaller printer, this is definitely the video for you. You can follow along with me as I create this helmet. Before we get to looking at the files, we want to get the sizing that we want. So we're going to take our cosplay calipers, which I did make a YouTube short and Instagram reel about these, so definitely go check that out. So what you want to do is you want to take them and separate them apart like this and put them up to the temple of your skull, which is the widest part, and get the distance there. Okay, once you have that, we're going to put it down on the table and take a tape measure or ruler and find that distance. Now, you can also do multiple other distances if you want to do from the nose to the back of your head and from your chin to the top of your head. You can definitely do that, but I'm just going to do these two sides from the temple to temple. That just fits my head the best. I don't really need to do all this extra scaling, and I will do some other scaling techniques and teach you how to do those. So if this isn't exactly what you want, then there's other ways you can do it too. To start with this project, you are going to want 3D files. Now I got my 3D files from Jedi Workshop. If you have not seen his work, definitely go check him out on Instagram and YouTube at Jedi Workshop. Now, he did have a promotion going on where it was free file day, so I was thankfully able to get files from that. But if you did not get to that, then you will go to his website at jediworkshop.co.uk, and then you go to 3D files, and then you can scroll down and find all of his files. Now, we're doing a helmet, so I want to go to the helmets section, and then we will scroll down to the Kylo Ren reforged version. So once you buy this, it will go straight to your cart, and then once it's purchased in the cart, then it will go to you. You'll get an email, and then you'll just download those files. So let's get right into the files. Once you have your helmet put into Mesh Mixer, what you're going to want to do is go to Analysis, and then to Measure. Now on the type, make sure it is this third option here. Direction, the x-axis is what we did, so we're going to do the x-axis. And then snapping mode, we'll do snap to vertices. And then what you do is you go from where the temple would be and you click, and then you go to the other side, click. There you go. And then you will get a measurement over here on the right. Now this is in millimeters, so whatever you got in centimeters or inches when measuring the distance between the sides of your head, you'll want to turn that into millimeters to get the exact sizing. And then once you do that, we're going to go to Edit and then Transform. And as you can see, there's these sizings here. Make sure you're on uniform scaling, and then let's say we need to go down. So we'll go down to 242 millimeters, and then accept. As you can see, it shrinks it down. Now, if you want to go to a bigger size, then we'll do that. We'll just go to 250, and then we can scale up even more. Now, one thing you do want to consider while scaling your helmets is if you want to put padding or fans inside your helmet. Now I definitely am going to be adding padding to this helmet, and I may add fans if I plan to do a costume with this. So it's all up to you how you want the helmet to fit, and if you want a decent amount of padding, no padding, fans, anything like that. So again, when you're scaling, make sure you scale it to your head and how you want. Not every helmet is going to be the same and is going to scale the same. So definitely use Mesh Mixer. It's a free software. You can measure it out and you can scale it inside of Mesh Mixer, which is really nice. Now, one thing that you can do, which I'll be showing you next, is using files that are roughly about the size of your head. Now this one's going to give you a more accurate measurement, but the scaling heads are definitely a lot more helpful if you just want to do it real quickly. I will have the files for those in the description, so that way you can use those as well. the files exported over from Mesh Mixer. Another way you can check sizing is using these sizing heads right here. So they've got different measurements on the back to figure out which head fits your head the closest. So what you'll do is you'll just take the helmet and just move it over top of the sizing head and see where everything sits, where the ears sit, and if you can take the helmet on and off without it clipping through anything. Now, one thing I do recommend doing as well is just taking the face mask part of this helmet and just double checking the alignment there as well, and see if you need to scale that up or down any. And as you can tell, I don't have to, so we are good. So once you have that done, you know the exact size and scale you need, then we can move on to the next part, which is slicing up the helmet so that way it can fit on your printer if you have a smaller printer. So as you can see here, the mask I can print all in one part, just the face piece right there, but then this helmet here is too big. I can't print this on my printer. So what we'll be doing is we'll be going back to Mesh Mixer, and we're going to do some slicing over there, and then we'll cut it up into multiple different sections, which we will then attach later. Now, while we're over on Mesh Mixer, another good way to figure out if the helmet will fit you right is if you slice a very slim section of the helmet and then fit that over your head and see how that fits. Now this one I'm going to scale up just a little bit just to make sure I can add some padding and possibly fans later on. So we'll get right into that and I'll show you how to slice those up. Now that we are back over in Mesh Mixer, what you want to do is you want to go over to the left where it says edit, click on that, and then you'll see right here plane cut. Now you'll click on plane cut and you'll see it creates this line all the way through the helmet or file. So what you can do is you can move it up and down, you can change which sides get cut. So what we're going to do is up at the cut type, we're going to do slice keep both. You do not want to cut and remove any extra parts of your helmet because you want all of them. So then we're going to do about halfway up the helmet, and then we're going to hit accept. And then once you're done with that, you can do more plane cuts, which I will be doing, or you can do separate shells, which then will separate the two shells. Now, as you do more cuts, there's going to be more shells, of course, so let's get right into that really quickly, and then I'll be right back with you. So we can see that we now have 3 separate shells, which I will cut down this bottom one as well to separate into 4, and I may go ahead and slice it all the way across again to separate it into even more shells, which is going to make it a little bit more challenging while finishing and connecting them together. But I do have a smaller printer, so this is how it's going to fit on my printer. I had to do this with the Kanan Jarrus mask, if you believe so. It was too big for my printer, so I had to slice it up. So it's really not that difficult to do, but we'll get to slicing these up, and then I will get them moved over to the printer and start printing while we finish up other projects, and then we'll get back to this one when it's done printing, and I'll show you how to connect them and how to finish the prints all the way. The crappy video. Once you have it all sliced up on Mesh Mixer, we're going to export it over to Kira. Now here at Kira, I have 2 of the parts on here. I may add another one right here, but you don't want to add too many on your build plate, but I like to put at least 2 to 3 parts on each build plate just to get more parts printed and take up less time. Now, once we have that, we'll change some settings around to fix with the filament and our printer, and then we'll slice and get a estimated time and filament amount, and then we'll send that over to our printer and get it printing for the next part in our helmet. If you enjoy what you saw, make sure to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and go check out Jetto Workshop on Instagram and YouTube. Thank you for watching my video, and I hope to see you guys in part 2.